Hello, good morning. Please help me out with the cameras. Let's see. We got some classmates that are still joining. Thank you for being here. As you know, I want to start for having it clear, right? This weekend is our last classes, right? Today and tomorrow. And next weekend, you're going to have your exams. Yep, that is clear, right? And next Saturday, you're going to have the speaking exam that is with another teacher. Yep. That you received the invitation for next Saturday? Zoom invitation for next Saturday for another teacher for the exam? Not yet. So obviously in this week, you're going to receive that because on Saturday, you're going to have, once again, you're going to have your evaluation, your speaking evaluation, the interview with another teacher. And then obviously on Sunday, we have the other exams. Yep. So I want to start today. I'm going to share my screen and let's retake it after the holiday. So let's see how we do it. Yep. I think that right now is visible for you my screen. So let's retake it. We're in unit 9B. Yep. In the section of vocabulary and pronunciation. And the activity that we have for today to start with is activity 4C. Activity 4C is match the sentences. Let me show to you in the format of the book what they refer to. They refer to the following. Match the sentences is going to be something similar from this one. What you have, take a look at the column that you have on the right. I switch it off. I switch it on. I turn it down. I turn it up. I plug it in. I plugged it in. I set it for 7:30. So those are the sentences. Let me admit a couple of classmates. Those are the sentences you're gonna be working with. Yep. Those are the ones that they refer to. Give me a second, another person. So that's what we have, okay? Just in case, isn't here Andrew Crespo and Mario Vallagan for the attendance? No? Okay, let's continue. So once again, they refer in this activity, they're gonna refer to the sentences or expressions that you have on the right. I switch it up, I switch it on, I turn it down, I turn it up, I plugged it in, I unplugged in, and I set it for. Yep, that's what they refer to. So let's take a look at the platform and let's start on activity 4C. Yep. So on activity 4C, let's take a look. Give me 1 minute. Let me change the language and the platform. And let's start. So I'm gonna preview and start my attempt as usual. Remember that you have the option to go on your own pace if you want. If not, obviously you wait for a little explanation. So in here, number 1, I changed the heating from 20 to 18. So which one will you use it for? I changed the heating from 20 to 18. So from letters A to G, which one describes that one?
I turn it down.
Okay, so we use the letter C and we match it. Yep, that's what we are going to do. Okay, I disconnected my iPod. Wow, my iPad from the computer. I disconnected. Yep. So which one will you use for that one? So, okay. So like that. Yep. Your 10 minutes start to run now. Okay, let's retake it. Going back to the main page. We just worked on the section of vocabulary of pronunciation, the activity 4C. Yep. So then this activity, the next one that you see here on the screen, we're gonna practice it later on with the other section of speaking in Zoom meetings, but later on. Okay, let's continue on this one. Activity 5B. Listen to part 1 of a radio breakfast show where the guests are discussing the book. Answer questions 1 to 6. Let me confirm that I'm sharing my sound. Give me a minute. There you go. So I start on it, I preview. And let's listen to the track together one time.
(5.19) Part 1.
And now it's time for our book of the week, which is The Winter of Our Disconnect by Susan Mousehart. Jenny, to start with, it's a good title, isn't it?
Yes, brilliant. And it was a fascinating experiment and a good read.
Tell us about it.
Well, Susan Mousehart is a journalist who's bringing up 3 teenage children. She decided to do the experiment after reaching a point where she felt that the whole family, especially her children, were all living in their own little worlds, with headphones on, plugged into their laptops or their iPods or their smartphones, and that they weren't relating to the other people in the family.
So it wasn't just her children who were permanently plugged into an electrical device?
Well, she admits that she herself was quite addicted to her phone and to her iPod and her laptop, and that she was constantly reading news sites and Googling information, but it was really her children who were totally dependent on new technology. In the book, she makes the interesting distinction between digital immigrants and digital natives.
What does that mean?
She describes herself as a digital immigrant. That's to say, someone who didn't grow up with digital technology, which is really anyone who was born before 1980. Her children are digital natives, which means that they were born after computers and the internet were already part of life.
Well, that's me then.
Yeah, well, the main difference, she says, is that digital immigrants use the technology to find information or to listen to music, but digital natives live and breathe the technology. So for them, living without it is like living without water, without electricity, in the Dark Ages.
What were the rules of the experiment?
The family had to live for 6 months without using any electrical gadgets in the house with a screen. So, no smartphones, no TVs, no laptops or computers, no video consoles, and no iPods. They were allowed to use technology at school or at friends' houses or in internet cafes. And they were allowed to use landline phones, but everything else was switched off for the whole 6 months.
I couldn't do that.
months? Gosh, how on earth did she get the children to agree?
She bribed them. She told them she was going to write a book about the experiment and that they would share in any profits that she made from the book.
Wow. No, that was very clever of her.
Okay, there you have it, your audio. And with that audio track based on it, you're going to answer these 6 questions. Yeah. You don't, be specific. You don't need to put like a full answer. Yeah. As short as possible, but with the specific information required, right? Why did Susan Mouchard decided to do the experiment? Was it just her children who were spending too much time using technology, who are digital immigrants and digital natives? What gadgets did Susan Mouchard's family have to switch off? Where? What were they allowed to use? And how did she get the children to agree to the experiment? Okay, so your time starts to run now. Okay, let's continue. Going back to the main page, we just work on activity 5B. I'm gonna check, obviously I have to check it manually, so do not worry, as you finish, I'm gonna be checking on it, yep. Let's continue, and let's go to activity 5D. Is in the same type. Listen again and complete the sentences in your own words. I preview, I start on it. We have the audio track, and here you have incomplete sentences, right? 6 incomplete sentences. Based on the audio track, we are going to complete them. Let's listen one time together, the audio track.
20. Part 2.
So, what were the results? Was it a positive experience?
At the end of the book, Susan says that it was a positive experience in every way. At first, of course, the kids complained bitterly. They kept saying they were bored. But then they started to talk to each other again, to go and sit in each other's rooms and chat. They got interested in cooking and reading. They went to the cinema together. They played CDs on the CD player. And they actually sat and listened to the music instead of just having music on their headphones all the time as background music. And Susan's 15-year-old son started playing the saxophone again. He'd stopped playing a few years before, but then he started having lessons again and even started giving concerts. Oh, and the children said that they slept better.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah. But I mean, what about the children's schoolwork? I mean, nowadays we sort of assume that everyone needs the internet to do research for homework and so on.
In fact, the children's school reports showed that they all improved. When they needed the internet, they used the computers at school or at university. The eldest daughter was at university. Or they went to friends' houses. But when they did their homework, they did it better than before because they weren't multitasking. They weren't doing homework and listening to music and sending messages all at the same time.
Right.
So they concentrated better and their schoolwork improved.
What about Susan, the mother? Did she find it difficult to live without modern technology?
What she found most difficult was writing her weekly article for the newspaper, because she had to do it by hand and not on her laptop. She says that at the beginning, her hand used to really ache. She just wasn't used to writing by hand anymore, but that was just a small problem.
Any other negatives?
Well, of course, the phone bill for their landline was enormous.
But it was.
I can imagine.
Has the experiment had a lasting effect?
Susan says that it has. She thinks that they all get on much better as a family. Her son is still playing the saxophone, and he sold his video console. They've all realised that we live in a digital world, but that we need to disconnect from time to time and to reconnect to the people around us. So they have new rules in the house, like no TVs in bedrooms and no TV in the kitchen where they eat, and no wasted hours on the internet.
Sounds great. That would be a good rule for me too.
Okay, once you listen to the audio track, we are able to complete these 6 sentences. Yep, your time starts to run now. Most of you finished on this activity. Let's continue on the Unit 9B, section vocabulary and pronunciation. Yep, we just worked. You helped me out working on activity 5D. Remember, the ones that finish, you're able to continue if you don't need any guidance. Yep. And here in 5E, we have the third part of these conversation about the measures and how this mother actually took part of an experiment, actually carry on an experiment and wanted to write about her experience and how she handled the mobile devices, especially in her family. Yep. So I preview and I start on mine. Let's take a look. Obviously, we have the audio track. Let's listen to it together one time. And then what you're going to see is like, what does each guest say he or she will miss most if they had to do the experiment? So they are telling, like, they are asking the people, right? Like if they are part of the experiment. So no devices or limitations to the use of the mobile phones, tablets, computers, and the internet in general. What will they miss the most? Okay, let's listen to the track.
.21, Part 3.
OK, so imagine you all did the experiment. What would you miss the most? Sally?
Well, I already live without the internet many weekends because we have a house in the country in the middle of nowhere where there's no internet coverage. So I know that what I would miss most is being able to Google information, like the phone number of a restaurant or what time a film starts. Or even, dare I say it, the football results. I don't have a TV, so I wouldn't miss that. But I would miss not having the internet.
Andrew?
Well, I simply couldn't live without a computer or a laptop because I work from home, so I don't have an office to go to, and I absolutely need the internet too. I couldn't do the experiment. I just wouldn't be prepared to go to an internet cafe all day to work. Susan, the journalist who did the experiment, only had to write 1 column a week, but I work from home 8 hours a day.
Jenny?
I think I could do it. I think I could easily live without any of these electrical gadgets at home. I mean, I have my office, so I could use the internet there. I don't use an iPod. I still prefer to listen to CDs.
You old dinosaur.
Yes, I know. And I don't watch much TV. I am quite attached to my BlackBerry, but I wouldn't mind using a normal phone for 6 months. I don't think there's anything I'd miss too much.
And finally, Nick, our only digital native.
Well, I'm sorry, but I just wouldn't be prepared to even try the experiment. Not even for a week, let alone 6 months. I wouldn't be prepared to live without my phone. I use it for everything. Phoning, music, the internet. So no, I wouldn't do it.
Not even if you were offered money?
It would have to be a huge amount of money. No, I'm definitely not going to do it.
No, shame on you.
Okay, there you have it. With that information, let's complete once again. What is the question? What does each guest say he or she will miss most if they had to do the experiment? Remember, the experiment is related to the use of technology, the use of internet and different devices. So imagine yourself, if somebody tells you that you're going to be limited on the use of those, what would you miss the most? Okay. Your time starts to run now. Okay, we can continue now. Let's see what else we get. We're in unit 9B. We just worked activity 5E. Yeah, these are the questions that I told you about. But first, we're gonna work on the writing activity. Yeah. On writing, we get the section 6A, and it's write an article about the advantages and disadvantages of smartphones. Let me share with you the format of the book just to see if we have an example of it. Yeah. So in here, writing, for example, here you have it on the right. Yeah. An advantage, disadvantages of something, of any article or a situation. Yeah. Here you have an example. Okay. So let me just reduce it a little so you can see on it. Once again, the activity on the platform is activity 6A. Write an article about the advantages and disadvantages of smartphones. Yeah. And the format that you're going to follow is this one. Take a look, for example, living without a TV. Almost every family today have a TV. In fact, probably more than one. And people everywhere spend hours watching it. But a few families choose to live without a TV because they think there are advantages. The first advantage, and you have here, right? So you have one paragraph for advantages. Then you have, but on the other hand, there are also disadvantages. Here you have, right? So you can see one introduction, one paragraph for advantage, one paragraph for disadvantage, and conclusion. For you, the activity demands exactly that, advantages and disadvantages of the smartphones. So I'm gonna keep this one as an example of what possibly you can follow in order to write about it, okay? Your time starts now. Let's take around 10 minutes on this one. Okay, it's time to come back. I sent to you an email. What we are going to do is that you're gonna be, each one of you gonna be in a Zoom room, right? You're gonna be working on the document that I sent to you, just in case, okay? I'm gonna create several rooms, but you're gonna be alone in the room. You're gonna be working also on the document that I sent to you to your emails, okay? That document is the answer key on the unit 10A. The idea is that you practice on 10A, yep. So this one is for you to consult results. Why you're gonna be in single rooms? Because I have to enter to each one of your rooms to show you your qualifications, to show you your grades, to tell you if something is missing. Okay. Questions about the activity? Okay, I'm gonna start the rooms. Remember, you're gonna be alone. Work on the document that I sent, and I'm gonna visit one by one to show you your grades. Okay. So please accept the invitation. Andrew, can you join your room, please?